with a YouTube channel.
Hey, T, tell folks how you feeling.
I'm feeling pretty good, Boone.
If you feel it. I said if you feel it. Oh, it's a beautiful.
All right, Brian, I hope that makes a little bit of sense, does it?
It does. Are you calling us hillbillies with a YouTube channel?
No, we do have a YouTube channel, and we are from Kansas, but we're not from Arkansas. We're from Kansas. But I think it was a couple weeks ago. I said my motto of the year was "If you feel it, chase it," and it came directly from that movie. And I just thought it was super cheesy, but I think it ties in from something that you just signed up for, and it's pretty wild and arguably the most difficult 100-miler in the country. Would you say that?
Yes. I may have made a huge mistake. But, so last Friday night was the drawing for the High Lonesome Lottery, and I didn't get in, which I didn't expect to, only having one entry in there. And I'd already planned, as soon as I didn't get in, I was signing up for the U-Ray 100. It was like, it was a good consolation prize, and Blaine, Jonathan, and Andrea are all going out to run it.
Yeah.
And I would rather do it in a year with other people I know there. And our goal this year is to become the first Kansans to ever finish that race.
Yeah. So just Ouray 100, 100-mile race, Ouray, Colorado, 45,000 feet of elevation gain.
42.
40.
Yeah,
Okay, 42. But it's absurd, and there's been no Kansas finisher, and that's awesome.
Yeah, so just to tell you, how crazy it is. You get, the cutoff is 52 hours for a 100-mile race.
Golly.
Typically around here, like Prairie Spirit, the cutoff is 30 hours.
Yeah.
So that just tells you they're basically giving you a whole nother day to finish this race. And I don't know what the finisher rate is, but I think it's below 50%.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong on that. But
That's wild. Yeah, I said last year I wasn't going to do a Colorado 100, and then High Lonesome turned out. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do a Colorado 100 this year, but
yeah,
who knows now?
I remember during High Lonesome pacing you, making that climb up the head wall, like a 3,000-foot climb or whatever.
Are you excited to do that 20
And we were both
times?
going, man, Ed and Blaine are stupid, because they were doing U-Ray at the same time last year.
Yeah, and now you are.
Well, here I am. Apparently I'm stupid also.
Yeah, okay, I'm looking at my watch. It is January 15th, which means I am day 15 into 75 hard, and it is kicking my butt. Like, I passed what was it? Is it the second Friday of the new year? Is that when most New Year's resolutions fail? Like, typically, so I made it past the hump.
Yeah, 20,
Maybe.
20%,
I'm only day 15 in, but
20%?
yeah.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, before I came here, I had my weight vest on, walking around my neighborhood, walking my dogs, trying to multitask everything, but yeah, we're doing the thing. So today on the Buckleheads podcast, we have, her name is Tara. She is the owner of Forward Nutrition, and is here in Topeka. Hey, Tara.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. So we start every podcast off, if we remember, which sometimes we have to think like 10 minutes in and be like, oh yeah, we forgot the question. So Dylan Bowman, we've talked a lot of ultra running stuff, but he has a podcast, business. Every question, he starts the podcast with, what makes you you? So we're going to ask you that. What makes Tara Tara?
Oh boy. So what makes me me? So we're just talking about like all aspects of life? Okay. So I'm a very positive person. So if you talk to anybody who ever meets me, they'll be like, Tara's energy is through the roof. Never seen her have a horrible day. Always got a big smile on. Very kind-hearted. I'm always out there to help people in any way I can. And I'm very outdoorsy too. So people know if I'm outside enjoying nature that I'm in a happy place too. And I love animals. I'm a big animal lover. So if you dogs, especially any dog on the street, especially if the owner allows me, I'm all over them as soon as they allow me to get in contact with them. And of course, like a big family-oriented person too. So I'm always about my family. I came from a big family. I'm number 5 out of 6 kids.
Oh, wow.
So, which isn't even as big as my mom's family was. My mom was a baby of 11, and I'm the fourth girl, so they have 2 brothers, and I'm in between the 2 boys, which explains a lot about me. I couldn't talk my brothers into playing Barbies with me much, so I always had to go out and play with them outside. So that's one reason I like being outside and being outdoors, which is kind of cool too. So I'm married. I have 2 young boys. They're 7 and 4, and I fit perfectly as the boy mom. I was made to be a boy mom. So I'm always down there, always wanting to go out and play outside. They're starting to get involved in like hunting and fishing type of things, and
cool.
Getting into athletics too. So it's been fun. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. What makes me me.
That's exciting. Yeah, I have 3 boys, 7, 3, and 1, and it's wild.
WWE matches every night.
Oh yes, I'm just getting them into actually WWE. It's so much fun.
And I just have to remind them, I'm like, I'm not going to the ER tonight, so we have to stop.
Luckily, they're young enough right now to where like you can still be.
Yes, still be in control a tad, or pretend I am.
Yeah. Well, cool. Are you originally from Topeka?
I grew up in Valley Falls for a little bit, and then my mom and dad moved closer to Topeka, so north of North Topeka, so Seaman area. Yeah. I finished school at Jeff West, so I grew up mostly in the Meriden area, and that is where I reside currently. So still very much love being in the Topeka surrounding area. I feel like basically we're still Topeka out there. We're not that far. Topeka's home, and that's where me and my husband wanted to be at.
Very cool.
So Jeff West, I don't know when you were going to school there, but I believe Ed West was the principal there for a while. Do you know?
Yes,
I
do know Ed. He was my freshman principal.
Oh, that's
I was
so
his last year. Yeah. His daughter was a year above me, and then his son was a year behind me. So I was in between both of them. And I know it was kind of funny. A few years later, after graduating, I realized he had another daughter and never even knew she existed. So...
Yeah, so Ed, Mr. West, he's a good guy. We run lots of miles with him, and him and Devin have quite the competition going on.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's so much fun. So yeah, he's a part of our running. He's actually, his distance PR is longer than mine. He got 150 miles at the Sticks, didn't he?
150, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So, but Prairie Spirit, I don't know if you're familiar with Ottawa or the Prairie Spirit Trail. It's a 100-mile race from Ottawa to Iowa and back. It's supposed to be fast and flat, kind of like Landon Trail. And we have a friendly competition because he's a little bit older than I am. But yeah, it's fun. I plan to run it as fast as I can and see what happens, and so does Ed.
It's just friendly competition. It's always good.
Yeah,
that's good. So we'll get into Ford nutrition a little bit. Kind of you can tell us what it is and stuff. But I guess, you kind of talked about the family upbringing and stuff, but what got you down the path of even, interested in nutrition or fitness or anything like that?
So I still am a dental hygienist. I practiced for 7 years. With my first pregnancy, I was kind of living my best life. Hygiene school, I put on like the freshman 30 in hygiene school, which was it came on really quickly. And I just was like, it's okay. It's no problem that I'm carrying around this extra weight and whatnot. After I got out of hygiene school, I was like, okay, I can start focusing now. Stress isn't as much and whatnot. Well, then, boom, I got pregnant with our first son and was like, I'm pregnant. I can eat for 2. It's all great and no worries. At the 20-week mark, I'd already put on 20 pounds, and my OB was like, okay, we gotta put a halt to this. You were already kind of a little overweight when you got pregnant, and now you're already into 20 pounds into your pregnancy, and we still have 20 weeks to go. Like, we gotta figure out what's going on. I barely passed my glucola test, and she made me go to nutritional counseling, and I'm like, I know this, I'm a dental hygienist, and I was so embarrassed and mortified, but I knew the reason I was going was for my health and for the baby's health, and just also too, women when we are pregnant, if we get gestational diabetes, that's put us at a higher risk of having diabetes later down the road. And I have a high prevalence of diabetes in my family. So that kind of gave me my first little scare. So I immediately started working on my nutrition and listening to what they were recommending. And I lost 17 pounds. And my doctor was not concerned because the baby was still growing and it was just weight that I needed to lose. And so by the time that my pregnancy was over, I had only gained, I think, a total of 10 pounds. So that was really my start, was like focusing on my health, and just started really becoming like an athletic and fitness guru off of that. I got into the best shape of what I thought I was in prior to getting pregnant with my second child. And then I continued on having a healthy, active lifestyle throughout that pregnancy, and was healthy the entire time, was working out, was able to continue working out clear up until the week I had him. And just recovery after having a child was so much smoother and easier, and was able to work on that, getting that body back after baby number 2. And I started doing the same kind of program and nutrition that I was doing previously, and nothing was really working. I was losing weight, but I wasn't getting like the physique that I was wanting. I wanted muscle tone. I didn't want to look like a bodybuilder, but I just wanted to look, hey, that, she looks good in a bikini, and just toned muscle wise. So I walked into Soulfire Nutrition, which is one of my sister clubs, and met a coach there, and got on to focusing on a high protein diet and pairing with healthy carbs, and incorporating nutritional products in there to kind of fill the gaps for supplementation. And that is where really all this manifestation began.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting because you mentioned something in there. Everybody knows you should eat healthy and
Yes.
you should work out, but it's so hard to do that. And sometimes it takes a scare like that or anything to get you going. So everybody has their different ways of getting motivated. And like I said, it's great to have places like your place or Soulfire that is there to help people out, because you can find anything on Google, but finding what you need, finding what is not misinformation, it's tough to do especially if you don't really know what you're looking for to begin with.
Exactly. And when it comes to like
I'm
taking,
gonna pause. Did it do it again? All right. Sorry, we're not totally professionals here, but
hey, you're okay.
you see what it did there? Like
I think it got quiet.
it was talking and then it got quiet again. But it's still on that. So that's interesting. Well, let's just back it up here. Because recording. Yep, it's still on the mic, so we're good. Okay. Back up. And go. Okay. And go. And we're back.
All right, so we're good now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we were just talking about how tough it was to kind of make that decision for yourself, right? Is that where we were at?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
to
essentially.
get healthy. So I guess, you started getting healthy. How long did it take you to start, your own business for nutrition?
It took me a long time. I never thought I was gonna leave dental hygiene. I thought that was the career for me. So that was the hardest decision in my mind, was, am I really willing to give up something I'm really passionate about? But it was kind of an easy choice at the end, because I have I have double curvature scoliosis, and I already have thoracic outlet syndrome too, and so that was kind of getting exaggerated by being a dental hygienist, and I was in a lot of pain, and I'm like, if I have to do this for the rest of my life, what am I going to look like when I'm even in my 40s? I just turned 31 this year, but back then I was 29, so I was like, if this is what it's going to feel like and this is what I'm going to be when I'm older, this is going to be horrible. So I had to make a choice. I was like, well, I have this opportunity that I keep getting offered, and I love helping people. That's why I became a dental hygienist. I wanted to have a way that I could still help people but it's just a different way, but still having a healthy outcome out of it. So I was like, I can help people get on a healthier journey. I did it for myself. I can help them too. So that is my driving force, is I want people to have a healthier, active lifestyle and still be able to enjoy food and whatnot, but just have a better lifestyle outcome out of it and not have to worry about illnesses and diseases that come from not being healthy, and they can just focus on living a healthy, active lifestyle and just continue on with their life versus worrying about all this stuff that could potentially happen in the future if they didn't.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious. I want to backtrack just a little bit because, I mean, my wife, we have 3 boys, and so we've had the conversations of, I'm eating for 2, I can do this, or like, you know, I mean, she's still nursing, and so like that's also like a high appetite.
Yes.
But like, I'm curious as to like, were you active as a kid, and did you do sports over there, and like just kind of take us through young Tara a little bit leading up to that point.
So I always got drugged to athletic events as a kid with my siblings,
Right, yeah.
But I always loved watching my older siblings play basketball. Basketball was my game. I was a very good defensive player, could see the whole court. And especially if I knew somebody I was playing, they were getting shut down. And then I kind of found a passion for running to my senior year. I started doing cross country, and that was kind of influential too. I never thought I would ever be able to run 7 miles all at one time, and hearing you guys running 100 plus, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are crazy, but that is awesome. So that kind of sparked, and I kind of learned how to be a long distance runner out of that. And if I would have started probably sooner, I would have been a little bit better than what I was as a senior. But it was really cool too the coach came and asked me to do long distance for track too, and seeing how we did the 4x8 and whatnot with the team, that was phenomenal, having that aspect and seeing how we each could make a great time as a team by running too.
Yeah that's careful now. So usually starting with cross country, and then it can escalate quickly.
It does, yes.
So, well, cool. Yeah, I think like we live in Topeka now. My boys are right now. We go to Auburn Washburn, big school district, but I went to Rock Creek High School, which is super small, similar in size to Meriden. I don't think we played Jeff West. I think they were probably 2A in that area. But I think just being involved in sports as a young kid is so important. Even like, you don't want to be the parent that pushes them and practice and all the things like every day of the week. You don't want to do that, but you want them to gravitate towards something athletic. Or at least that's kind of like a goal or some sort of active lifestyle. But yeah.
Well, there's just so many like qualities that you learn too, being an athlete, leadership qualities, responsibility, dedication, and if you're working with the right coaches and whatnot and the right team, mindset is a huge thing too, because if the mindset is not good and they're not developing into the athletes, your team, like, it's not going to be as well either. So if you can get a phenomenal mindset going with your players and your athletes, you can do amazing things, as we have seen.
Right. So my kids are older. They're out. My daughter is just now starting her last semester at K-State.
Oh, wow.
And my son's even older, but they grew up playing soccer and basketball mostly. My daughter was more just for fun. My son was pretty competitive with soccer and stuff. And you mentioned your kids are getting into athletics. I'm just curious, did you have to push them at all, or do they see kind of you doing fitness type stuff and they just ready to jump in and get onto it with their own?
A little bit of both. So Landon, my oldest, we started him in T-ball at 3. Oh, those are some fun times. And I was sitting there, I was like, he's not really doing anything, but it's just kind of teaching, like, hey, you got to go to practice. You go and do these games. They learn how to listen to another adult type of thing, a coach. And they just kind of start seeing, like, what is capable with sports. So he started playing T-ball there at first, and then we kind of got him into some intramural soccer things. and he hated the intramural soccer. It was kind of funny. But now his goal this year is to become a phenomenal soccer player. He's getting really into CR7 and Cristiano Ronaldo. So he is very defensive like me. He is a very good defensive player, and it's just fun seeing how much he has transitioned. And he's played 4 or 5 seasons of soccer now, and just seeing each season how much he's progressing is great. Now Gideon, my 4-year-old, he is my trucks, and he wants to be a farmer boy, and he's just he's my stout boy. So he hasn't shown really any interest into it yet. But I'm curious to see as he gets older and he starts seeing Landon play a little bit more, if he's going to begin to start wanting to do stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, my oldest, we got him involved in ninja class this last probably 8 months now, and it's wild to see he didn't really have much fun in soccer. We might try that again this spring, but I'm curious though to go back to the fitness stuff. So for me anyways, when I started kind of my fitness journey was almost kind of similar, in like, okay, I put on a lot of weight after high school, and so does a lot of people. Like
Yes.
the friend, like, it is interesting when you go from like active, and then all of a sudden sedentary school. Like, it's talked about a lot, but I'm curious as to like, was the doctor like the aha moment where it's just like, okay, I got to reel this back in a little bit? Like, I mean, a doctor didn't say something, but I started my fitness journey with like Beachbody workouts. Like, I don't know if like Brian still does some P90X, but like it was one of those aha moments. Like, okay, I got to start reeling this back in, and it's not a linear process, obviously. Like we all know that, but I mean, was there a moment that like, okay, this is the steps I got to take, and then I got to do this, for my kids and all that stuff. So
I was already really uncomfortable, like when your clothes quit fitting and you have to go buy more clothes. I got married halfway through hygiene school, and I had bought my dress before hygiene school, which fit amazing, and then I had to go return it and get like 2 sizes up. So that's kind of like where I was like, I need to do something, but it wasn't enough to force me into doing something. Now, when a doctor starts talking to me about diabetes, that was like, I have to do this because 1, I don't want to cause my baby anything to happen. And then 2, later on in life, I don't want to have to worry about the words being a diabetic in my future. So that was really like my turning moment that I have to do something. I need to do it now. And there's no excuses. It just has to happen.
Yeah, and I would say, so you had your turning point, and you've been sustaining this for quite a while now, is that right?
Yes.
So I guess what motivates you, or what, maybe not necessarily motivation, could be discipline or whatever, but what helps you maintain the healthy lifestyle?
1 is my kids. I want to be the healthy parent that can keep up with them and be able to go run and do whatever they want to go do all the time. Also, 2, my biggest thing right now is I want to be the 80-year-old that is going up and down stairs without assistance, that can reach above her head without having any issues, not on any medications. That is the biggest scary thing. Like, it's one thing if, genetics play factors, I get it. If you have to be on something, I understand. But if I don't have to be on something, that is my goal. I don't want to have to be on medications at all. I just want to be able to fuel myself appropriately with nutrition, and then obviously keeping up with a healthy, active lifestyle, so I keep my mobility and flexibility up, so I don't have to worry about being the old 80-year-old. I want to be that one that they don't believe is 80 years old.
It's very surprising. In the ultra world, there's like, I mean, just a wide spectrum of people. I mean, Ed's almost half my, like, he's almost double my age, and he's like, or like, I always tell the story. There was this guy that beat me. I ran the Patriots run, which is 9-hour, 11-minute run. And this dude that was double my age, Paul, beat me because I went out too fast, and he was, the little tortoise that could, and he just passed me up for second place. But yeah, that's the goal. And that's why, like, Brian's, you're pretty good with it. You talk about it a lot, but like, especially when it comes to like running and runners, like, I think lifting weights and focusing on diet is so important so that you can maintain the lifestyle, because we're not gonna be running. I mean, we would like to be running ultras forever, but like that's not. It's just like with power, like when you're powerlifting, bodybuilding, you want it, like you kind of want to be sustainable with it. But so to switch gears a little bit, not really switching gears, I guess. But so we met you at Sterling's race, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You were a vendor there?
Yes.
So do you know, I'm just curious, do you know Sterling, or did he reach out, or?
So last year, so not 2024, but 2023, Danielle Martin, she had reached out to me because I know her from just all of the nutrition aspect of getting to know her. And she had asked if I would be interested in being a vendor at Sterling's race. And so I had said I would love to, but that weekend I was busy. So I was like, and maybe next year if that lines up perfectly. So then things came about this year and everything worked out perfectly. So I had reached out to Sterling. I was like, hey, I know we had talked last year. Would we be able to do this again for the Indy races? And he said, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So it was a great honor to be there, especially for the cause.
Yeah. Yeah. The weather wasn't really too kind, if I remember right.
And you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool. So, I'm curious because we're similar in age, and I'm just fascinated with so you went into Soulfire, and they obviously shot you with the bug, or they're I've been in there a few times. I've been in a Happy Place, their new place, a few times. So. You went in there to get a coach, basically okay, I need some help and some direction here, or?
First was just because I saw these amazing teas that look like Kool-Aid. Yeah. I was like, I don't know what that
Loaded
is.
with caffeine.
Yeah, but I'm like, I want to go try it. And at that time, my energy levels weren't what I wanted them to be, too. So I had that tea, and it was phenomenal. And I was like, okay, we're doing this. I like this stuff. And also the coach in there that had given me my products, she had the physique that I was looking for. So I was like, I don't know what you do, but you look great. That's what I want. So how do I get that? So she sat me down, and that's when I started learning more about nutrition. Oh,
cool. Yeah, because the internet is so good with so many things, but
yes.
If it's there is a displacement, because I want the physique. It's difficult to balance, because I want the physique of not quite a Nick Bear, but upper body muscle, all the things, but I also want to run ultra marathons, and it's so hard to balance that stuff. And a lot of people on the internet are. I don't want to say they hide stuff, but they definitely don't give you all the information on stuff they're on, or especially in the male world, there's a lot of people on testosterone that they don't say anything about. So going into a place like Soulfire, or hey, hiring a coach, how do I do this? And I just think that's such a good thing to do, that I should probably listen to that advice. So, okay, so, and then how, just kind of take us through the, because you're now a coach, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us the knowledge that you gained from being, I guess, the student to now the teacher. Is that kind of a similar, or was that the roadway, essentially?
Yes, because never in a million years would I have thought that I would have been able to teach people what I did. But it was simple. It was just making sure that you're focusing on what you needed to focus on macro-wise. And I lost 15 pounds in 7 months, and it was mostly body fat that I had lost. And the increase in muscle mass that I got, I had abs for the first time in my life after 2 babies. I didn't even have them in high school. I was probably what you called skinny fat in high school. You're living your best life, drinking all your Dr. Pepper and whatnot in high school, and eating all your mozzarella cheese sticks. Yeah, great.
All the things. I
know, right? And you're like, it's just melting off. Really, it wasn't. So seeing that, just the transformation pictures, because that's what everybody tells you, always take a before picture so you know where you started. And just when I took my 7-month picture, I could not believe the transformation I had. Just even in my shoulder region, my delt was just popping, and tricep, bicep were popping. And that was just remarkable. And that kind of just kept me wanting to like go, okay, well, what result can I get next? And over the last, I've been on the products now for 3 years. And so just every time I'd be like, okay, let's go for this result. Let's go for this result. And just seeing what could happen. And you talking about 75 hard, I finished that in October. So it's a rough battle, but I finished it, and I did it in one swoop too. So it's possible. I just want to know that.
I was, I was doing a little bit of social media snooping, and I saw that you had done 70. I was going to bring it up later. See, I'm trying to do it a little bit different because I've done it 3 other times. But I don't do anything that's sustainable because it's just like, okay, let's go berserk. Let's get into the most insane calorie deficit. And then once it's over, it's over. And then it's just balloon back up. And that's awesome. 75 hard is such a cool thing. But it's hard for a reason. And we have 2 other guys in our running group that are doing it. And we've created a little side chat, and I wanted to quit every single day because I wake up at 3 a.m. to go to work, and it's just hard to get everything in. But
knowing that you're being held accountable though too with others, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And that was part of, when we get into it, I can go more into it, but that was part of my success with my 75 hard was I had 2 friends doing it too with me. So
yes.
You want to quit a lot of days, but then you're like, no, because they're not quitting, so I can't.
Yeah, and I would say even, I've never had a nutrition coach, but just doing lots of sports and stuff in the past and having friends that do things, sometimes it does take a coach or other people to help you be accountable. So obviously you kind of have the nutrition stuff. Do you do any kind of like on the fitness side coaching? Like do you help come up with training plans or anything?
I do not. So I'm not a certified trainer. If my clients that I'm currently working with, like they're asking for like workouts to do, I kind of always ask them like, well, how experienced are you? And based on what their experience level is, that's kind of what I'm like, okay, I would probably just start with like calisthenics first, because if you've never lifted weights, I don't want you to go straight into lifting weights, especially when you don't know anything. Or I do have friends who are trainers. I send them some referrals. I'm like, it just, they'll be great for you if you want to do that. Also, too, we have transformation challenges, too. We're starting to get into like a nationwide one that offers meal plans and workouts, so you can follow along with those workouts. And we also have other 21-day challenges, too, that we're starting to develop, and we're putting workouts in. I haven't seen all of that, so I don't know exactly what all is in there, but that is typically what I do. I either refer to a trainer or just kind of ask them where their basic level is and kind of start helping them figure it out.
And I think that's, Devin and I kind of do that too, because we get people asking questions about running ultras, and we're like, well,
I've got a good bro science approach.
Like, we're not coaches, but this is what works for us. It may not work for you, but I mean, we've been able to do this stuff without getting injured, so I think we're doing
we're doing something right.
If you want to be an elite level runner, we may not be your best coach, but I think it's, again, you're making this what I consider the smart move is you're offering personal advice, but then again, like going, hey, if you really want to know, if you want to set this up, go talk to trainers. But
yeah.
So
I guess what was when you became a coach, and then take us through becoming a coach to actually opening your own business, because that I'm definitely fascinated by that.
So I started getting this manifestation of being my own boss. In the dental hygiene world, it's hard to take off because they want you to find temps to fill your schedule, which rightfully so. If you're not there, they're not making money.
Yeah.
So anytime my kids were sick, I was sick, it was always a very stressful few hours trying to find somebody. If you couldn't find somebody, then I'm always like the person who feels guilty, which I should not. And that is part of my personal development story. If we ever get into that part of the section, I can talk about me developing personally on that aspect. So then when I would be off, I'd always feel guilty that I'm not there when I should be worried about my sick kid or myself. In August of 21, my husband's in the military, and he went down to Fort Rucker, Alabama, for warrant officer school. And at that time, they were still making them do the 14-day quarantine for COVID. So, don't know if you know anything about Alabama in August, but it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So, my husband had to sit in his barracks room by himself in an air-conditioned room for 14 days. After that, they took him out and everybody was cleared to go, start training. He endured they woke him up, I think, at like 3 a.m. to start doing their fun training. They would do 100 some push-ups, run like a mile or so, or how many miles. Then they would do like pull-ups or sit-ups, and then run another mile. And he had already been drinking lots of over-the-counter electrolytes, had already been drinking gallons of water a day because he knew this was coming. He got so hot and sweaty, he ended up getting rhabdomyolysis.
Wow.
So he finished his training that day, but then they immediately were like, you don't look good. We need to start treating you for heat exhaustion. And so they kind of went into that. He never passed out, kept full consciousness, was able to communicate effectively. The Fort Rucker, Alabama does not have a hospital on base. So the nearest town is 20 minutes away. So they had to call an ambulance from there to come pick up. But the thing is, there was already a guy who had already passed out that they knew was in full heat stroke. So he was first priority. My husband was getting cooled off, was communicating fine. So by the time the ambulance came back, it had already been like an hour of having heat exhaustion. They're like, you're doing great. Like, we don't need your typical heat exhaustion. We don't need to treat you for anything. Goes to the ER. They sit there. They were so packed with COVID patients. They didn't have any IVs available at that moment. They didn't have a room available. So he was just sitting on like a gurney in the hallway.
Wow.
Finally, they came and did his lab work, and they're like, we need to get you on IV right away. You have rhabdomyolysis, and we need to get treating you immediately. It's insane. So at that point, he decided it would be a good idea to call and let me know what was going on. And it was kind of funny because he was out of it at this point. I answered the phone, and he goes, hi, Tara, this is Sean Casey, your husband. And I'm like, really? I did not know that Sean Casey was my husband. So that day I was extremely freaked out, and I went and told my boss. I was like, hey, Sean is in the hospital down in Alabama with heat stroke at the moment that they're pretty sure it's rhabdo. And so he goes, okay, we'll just keep me posted and we'll let you know. And I said, all right. So went in to, called him the next night. His CK levels spiked horribly. He was at 80,000 CK, and he was their second highest case of it. And they were talking about, because they didn't know where any of his IV fluids at this point were going. They didn't know if it was going into his chest cavity. He had no urine production at this point. Wow. And so they were talking about putting him on dialysis because his CK was just jumping up. So the next day I go into the dentist office, and I'm like, hey, they're talking about kidney dialysis. I'm going. And he told me I could only go if I found a temp.
Oh.
And at that time, if I would have had the confidence that I have now and everything that I know now and everything that I've worked on myself now, I would have been like, have a nice day. I'm out. I will go find another dental hygiene job. But good Tara, being a good person, not going to talk back, I immediately start calling temps, and I think I covered all but like one of my 5 days that I was trying to get off. And so I said, I'm out. I found 4 people. That's good enough for me. So I go down and see him, and that point I was like, who has the right to kind of tell you that your spouse is not important, especially when they're talking about kidney dialysis, and at this point nothing is working. He could potentially die, and you're telling me I can't leave to go see my husband. And I so badly wanted to be like, if this was your wife in this situation, you wouldn't have even thought twice about it. You'd be like, take all the patients off my schedule, go. I'm going, bye.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I didn't have that choice, I did have that choice, but I didn't act on that choice was a big thing. And that was when I was like, I need to start finding something else because my body feels horrible. And then also they're trying to dictate so much of my life of where like if my kids are sick, it's hard to get off work. My husband's in Alabama, states away, and I have no control, don't even know what's going on because he can't really, he's kind of clear but not, and talking about kidney dialysis. And that's when I was like, I have to go, and we got to figure something else for myself so I can be more readily available for my family. So that was another kind of inspirational moment.
I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. So I mean, take us through that personal development. Like was it starting to take classes? Was it like just because I can relate to that to a T.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Just take us through that. Like what started the something's got to change.
Yeah. So really at that point I had done no personal development ever. Never even heard of it. So when I started hanging out, they always tell you that you're like the average of like the 5 people you hang around, right? So when I started hanging around my coaches and just hearing about personal development, I'm like, what? You guys like, okay, well, are you guys like listening to motivational stuff? So I started listening to like Motivational University on YouTube. And I mean, I know that's like, they have some good stuff on there. No, don't get me wrong. But that's what I thought personal development was listening to motivational people. And, I started to change. I started to be like, okay, this is what's happening. I'm starting to become a stronger person, more outspoken about what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. And then it kind of slowly turned into reading books and then listening to podcasts and stuff. And one of my favorite people to listen podcast wise is David Goggins.
Yes, we're best friends.
I just love it. And I could listen to anything of his, and I hear his voice all the time in my head.
Who's gonna carry the boat?
Yeah, so that is me. So that's really, he's been like my biggest jump just this last year, just listening to him and getting that mindset of like, you are the only person who can do this, and if you can't do it, who's gonna basically do it? So that's kind of been my journey, is just listening to them. Jim Rohn, I just read the Traveler's Guide too by Andy. I can't remember. I just read it. Darn it. But that was a really good book too, just talking about like 7 things that a leader needs to be doing. So started developing my leadership skills quite a bit too. And then I feel like with leadership too, you start learning like boundaries that you need to set too, which I was always the person I didn't have boundaries up to a certain extent. So now I have boundaries, and I kind of make people earn things. And I'm not just going to be like the person who's always like willy-nilly to be like, here, I'm going to come immediately to your rescue, but I kind of make them figure things out, teaching them, making them earn it, and then keep it, helping them grow as well alongside me. Because there's still a lot of growth and development that I need, but it's growing. Wow.
Yeah, and I just love hearing people like you or other guests, like anyone that takes that step, because I kind of come from the corporate world, and I don't know, I've been working in IT now for 22 years, 24 years, I can't even remember. But I've seen so many people over that time that just slave away, and they're working till 10 o'clock at night, and they're working every Saturday and Sunday. And I've always been the guy that Friday, I go home, I'll come back and work on Monday. I mean, every once in a while, yes, you have like big upgrades or something where everyone has to come in and work. But there are so many people, even if you stay in that corporate world, where I'm just going, I come back on Monday and start working, my boss isn't yelling at me. Like, you pay me a fair wage to be here so many hours a week. Like, you don't own me. So like, even if you don't step out and take a new job, just set those boundaries so you can, spend time with your family. Because I'm not going to lie, I've always wanted to do something different, but, this long in IT, I make pretty good money. I've always been like 90% of our family income, so I never have made the change, but I can still set those boundaries and be like, I'm going to Colorado to run, for the weekend. My phone's not going to be on. So, if you're listening, like, even if you don't take a drastic step of changing your job, just know you can do things to make your life better. And that's why what we're doing this podcast for, is just hopefully inspire someone by sharing your story about what you're doing. So it's just great to hear.
Well, the great thing about doing this podcast is, like, I mean, you even messaged me the other day, like, I think after what, so we've had a wide spec, like, one of the main reasons why we wanted to start this was, one, to highlight all the things in Topeka, and whether it's running, nutrition, whatever, but, like, throughout the guests that we've had, and, like, I'm getting fired up listening to your story and your personal growth and your risk taking and all the things. But, like, some of the previous guests too, like Keith from Fitrition, he took I don't know if you know him, but he took a chance, opened his business, opened a gym. Or, like, even Anthony, like, what was it, episode 5 or 6, when he was like, let's go, like, I'm sure he's one of your coaches. Yeah. I love him, and I hope he listens to this.
Yes, he probably will be.
Yes, but yeah, I love his Instagram. It was a joy talking to him, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to start this podcast is because in no other world would I could probably go into Forward Nutrition and have a sit down with you, but, like, I think hearing your story right now is inspiring, and it's awesome, and I love doing this podcast, Brian, and but I didn't know where we were in your particular story.
So basically, you you kind of decided you had to get out. You had to do something different. You were doing all the, the personal growth. And at what point were you like, I am going to start this business? Like, how long did that take?
It took from July of 21 to March of 22 to decide that this is what I was going to do. And in the meantime, that was about 7 months after my husband had been in the hospital with rhabdo. So it took me 7 months to sit here and be like, this is what I'm going to do. My husband was very supportive because he heard me coming home every day complaining about being at the dentist office and whatnot. And he was like, what is going to make you happy? So I had to, like, sit there and figure out what are qualities that I am wanting, like, what's very important to me. And time is a huge importance factor in my life. And that's what I tell a lot of people that I am, meeting with or anything. If you value my time, I will value your time, and I will, I'll always make sure that I am giving you the time that you need. But if you're disrespectful of my time or whatnot, or you say, hey, we're gonna be, I plan on coming over to do this, and then you don't show, that's I'm like, okay, so now I'm putting that boundary up, like, you got to earn that next time with me. And then I also have been learning about how to ask the right questions to get them to have agreements. Is a big thing too, is agreements versus telling people, like, hey, this is what's going on. You're like, so we're in agreeing that this is what time we're meeting, the blah blah blah. Yeah. So that way it kind of holds people more accountable, because then you're like, okay, we agreed that this is going to happen. So. All
right. So, side note, did your husband recover fully?
He did. It was great. She's excited. He recovered.
Yeah.
So, yes, he recovered fully. He's still, to this day, that was back in 21.
Keep going.
He recovered to where his CK levels are still elevated, so we still have to be careful about creatine and whatnot.
Yeah.
But other than that, and then obviously just if he's out working outside, I'm on him like a hawk. He doesn't like that because he's very much, I'm Mr. Independent. I don't need you checking on me. I'm like, no, you're at higher risk now of this happening again. So, but yes, he has, and he's in the gym himself, working out and being a gym guru too.
Yeah, that's good to know. I'm always curious because I know that's rough on your kidneys, and
it is.
I only have one kidney, so I'm always like a little cautious with things. But so your business, you started your own store, and it's, I don't know if store is the right word.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Brick and mortar storefront nutrition shop.
And you're downtown, right? So how has that gone being downtown?
It's been a big learning experiment. So just getting to know people, and it's crazy too, being open. This May will be 3 years, or not 3 years, sorry, 2 years. And how many people still don't know that I'm down there? Or they walk by my shop and they're like, I don't know what she does. She probably does like lemongrass and all of this like unique stuff. And I'm like, no, it's real simple. And so it's been, just getting the word out in the community that I'm out, that I'm down there, talking to all the local businesses too that are in downtown, trying to get them to know I'm there. The state department, I'm trying to get into the state so I can get into some of the state offices, let them know what I can offer, and work alongside with Health Quest, which is like the doctor clinic available for the state employees when they're downtown working. So just letting them know that I'm down there to help anybody with their wellness goals that they're working towards. And a lot of people see too that like I'm just a person to help lose weight, and it's like we're much more than that. We're there to help learn a healthy, active lifestyle. If your goal is to put on gaining lean muscle mass and putting on some weight, we can do that too. If you're just like, hey, I just want to work on overall wellness and just get healthier, I'm there. I can help you with anything from GI health to we got several supplementations and other products for like even cardiovascular health, just to help improvement. Now we don't we don't say that we can cure, prevent, or treat anything, but we can definitely help with things. So that's the biggest thing.
Now, what's the story behind Forward Nutrition? Like, what's the name all about?
A lot of people ask me because they're like, this is a very unique name. So when I was listening to my motivational university days, Denzel Washington, he's another one of my very influential speakers that I listen to. And when I was down and trying to figure out the name, I was saying, this name sounds great. This name sounds great. But I wasn't ever like, didn't hit that one that was like, this is it. He was sitting there talking about in one of his speeches where he was talking to college graduates, and he was talking about how you need to keep moving forward in life. He's like, don't fall backwards. You need to fall forward because you need to see what you're going to hit. And I'm like, that is very much what's going on in my life right now. I am taking a leap of faith, and it may or may not work, but you know what? All I can do is fall forward so I can see what I'm going to hit. And so also too, that has been like a big part. I want people to keep moving forward in life. Don't ever hold back in life to where you think you can't do anything, that you get to that dark place that you think nothing is going to happen, nothing ever good's going to happen to you. You just got to keep moving forward. So that is kind of that's how I got the name. My mantra too of this store is into the storm. So I don't know if anybody's ever heard the story of like the cow and the buffalo, but this was another big thing to kind of add into Forward. So cows, when a storm is about ready to happen, they typically turn and run away from the storm, and they end up being in the storm longer because they're running away from it, and they die, they get injured, they get exhausted, they get really sick and hurt. So things typically don't turn out well for cows when they're running away from the storms. Buffalo charge into storms, and they don't care. They know that they're going to come out on the other side of the storm a lot quicker and sooner because they're facing the storm immediately. They might be banged up and bruised up, but they're coming out alive, and they're actually stronger and more motivated and whatnot because they're pushing through what's coming at them. So into the storm, to make people focus on, no matter what's going on into your life, you have to get through that storm. It's going to happen regardless. You can continue to run away from it, or you can sit there and face it. And that's what I did. I faced my storm and I jumped into it. And, life is going to happen. Seasons of life are going to happen too, where sometimes life is great and other times it's a little bumpy. You got some turbulence, but you got to fly. So
I love all that.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I can say, I've worked from home for the last several years, but I used to work down at 6th Kansas, so not far, I think, from where you're at. And I could just say, if anyone's not familiar with downtown Topeka, places come and go all the time. So I can just say, without even setting foot in your store, if you've been there for 3 years, like you're doing something right, because there are not many businesses down there that go 3 years because of COVID and people started working from home more and doing stuff. So, I think it's just great because the downtown needs stuff. People need access to healthy food, healthy coaching, just anything. I think it's just amazing you've been able to to do that down there. So.
Well, it's just crazy too, just seeing how many people don't know good nutrition or don't know anything about nutrition. And I think it's just crazy that we are not teaching our young students this at an early age. Just hearing from clients that they don't know what a protein is, they don't know what a carbohydrate is, they don't know what fats are, or they think that eating, she's like, go girl, I like that.
All about the protein.
Yeah. So they are, so just sitting there talking to them and like teaching them, and like you can see that they're like, oh my gosh. Also learning like quality. So they'll sit, I've had people come in and they're like, your shake and tea combo is $18. Like, this is insane. I can go to McDonald's and get a combo for like, probably at this time it was $12. Now they're like 15, 16. So, and I was sitting there, I was like, well, what are you guys eating? You're eating trans fats, maybe not even real food, super high in sodium, not real protein. And how do you feel after you eat that? You feel sluggish and you're tired. I said, here, if you have a shake and tea combo, your energy levels are going to be through the roof. You're not going to be starving. You're not going to be craving a lot of the bad stuff because you got the great nutrition into you. And it's going to last you, like, it's going to keep you going throughout the rest of the day, and you're going to want to keep doing healthier stuff. So that's what I have to kind of like remind them, like, you're getting way better quality stuff that is actually going to do what it needs to do for your body versus this, you know, stuff over here at this local food chain.
Yeah. And I can tell you, even just like if you get on Amazon and search nutrition books, all you're going to find in their first hundreds of things are books pushing really restrictive diets or like certain things. It's not really a book about nutrition or, you know, diet in general. It's pushing very specific stuff. So I think, again, that makes it is tough now to actually learn proper nutritional information because everything you see is just pushing certain diets, certain products, and it's tough.
Or the latest fads too. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, if you told me that I could never eat pizza, that I could never have cake or ice cream again, I would tell you, YOLO, you only live one time. What I teach people is you need to eat good 95% of the time. And that's the part of living, though, is that we get to experience things, and food is a big experience. I mean, who can say that they're not a foodie? We all love food, and that's why we are in the epidemic in the United States that we're in, where 73% of people are overweight, and it's just crazy. So I tell them, if you told me I couldn't enjoy delicious food occasionally, I would be like, I'm done. And still, you can cook healthy food and it still turns out amazing. It's just learning like what recipes to follow or what you need to put ingredients wise, real ingredients into the food, and you can make it taste amazing and phenomenal.
I was going to joke, except for during 75 hard.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, no, you can't have
no cheats during that.
Earn meals. I call them earn meals.
There you go. Yeah.
You gotta earn them. But that was one of my toughest things on that.
Yeah. Over Christmas, we got a Ninja Creamy. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Have I told you about this, Brian?
No.
Protein ice cream is like
the rage.
It is. It's macro friendly, but as much protein. Like, I have my protein one, and my wife has a different one, a little bit less protein, but it's still like, it's awesome. We need to do a whole podcast on creamies, but yeah, that's awesome. And just the thing with like, I think what you guys offer and all there's several nutrition locations. Like, just side note, are they all kind of like lifestyle nutrition, for nutrition, happy life, or happy place? Are they all do you all work together, or are you all individually different?
So we all are individual owners of our shops. Now, obviously, a few of us here in town are a part of an organization. So we all try to do similar things, or, you know, since it's our shop, we can do what we want. But like, they kind of help us have that process of what we know or how to run things. So that way you're not just running into a business and you're like, I've never owned a business, I don't know what I'm doing. They're there to kind of help you learn that process, so that way you can learn how to be a business owner and still do your wellness coaching and whatnot, and not have it be as much as a big stress over your head where you're trying to learn. You're still learning, but it's not like you're doing it by yourself. You have somebody there as like a teacher or coach to teach you.
And I think just what you offer, because if you Google how do I lose weight, you're gonna have you got to go full on carnivore, you got to go full on keto, you got to fast for 48. You got like just all the different fads, but I think you sitting down and just getting to know the person that comes in, what their lifestyle is, I think that's so important, and that's such a first great step, because it's day of recording this is January 15th, and we were joking a little bit about New Year's resolution goals, but it shouldn't just be like a resolution like, hey, I want to get in shape, I want to lose weight, I want to do all the things. Typically January 1st is when people start that, but I think just even if you fall off or if you cheat or you have just get back on the wagon and just keep on going, because it's a whole lifetime to do this stuff.
One of my favorite things to tell people, because they'll be like, oh my gosh, I broke down, I went and got ice cream today.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I tell them, well, are you going to make this, I messed up and had ice cream for a snack, or am I going to make this turn into a whole day of mess up, or am I going to turn this into a whole weekend of mess up, a full week of mess ups, or a whole month of mess ups? Which one are you going to choose? I'm just going to turn this into, I had a mess up for one meal or one snack. And I'm like, great, that's all right. Yeah. That's part of the journey too. Like, so many people think, okay, so let's say like their goal was to lose 15 pounds. They get to that point of where they lose the 15 pounds, and then they're like, what else do I do? And they have no idea, and that's okay. Like, their goal might just be maintaining that 15-pound weight loss. But they also kind of get into, they start like, oh, it's okay, I lost that 15 pounds, now I can start doing what I used to do. And it's just like, no, you can't do that. So I try to work and figure out what is your goal, like what do you want to do, and try keeping people on to their next goal so that they always have something in sight. Or if they're not for sure, I'm like, that's okay. Like, you don't know, let's just continue doing what you're doing currently so we can maintain what we've done. And also just trying to make sure that people know, like, I just want the best outcome for you, and what do you want? And that's the other thing, like, they're always like, well, what do you think I need to do? I'm like, it's not about me. I can give you whatever plan that I think you need to do, but you're the one who has to do it. And I want to make sure that it's something you truly want to do, because you're going to be the one that has to wake up every day and go, why am I waking up today? Why am I doing this? And your why has to be strong. And if it's like, well, Tara wants me to do this, that's not going to get you out of bed, because you're going to be like, screw Tara, I'm going to sleep, like, or I'm going to eat this pizza. Tara's not here. She's not watching me. So that's the big thing too, is just having people like to keep moving forward, and to, yes, I made a mistake, but it's a journey, and that's why it's a fitness journey. It's going to be a bumpy journey. Some days it's going to be smooth. Other days you're going to be, I don't want to go out and run 100 miles today. So it's just, it's just a journey.
Well, and again, this is where a coach comes in handy, because like you said, you can fall off that wagon pretty easily, or you lose that 15 pounds, and now what? Well, maintaining that isn't necessarily easy. You still got to keep eating healthy just to maintain it. And we've seen it, like, we know people that, hey, I'm going to run an ultra marathon, whether it's 50K, 50 miles or whatever, and they train up for it and they do it, and then they just disappear. Like, they did it and they don't run anymore. So again, there's nothing wrong with that.
It isn't.
But it's, like I said, it has to be your plan. Like, you can help them along, but that's just great to hear. So I would say, before we forget, for people listening, and we'll put this in the show notes, but like, just tell us where you're at, and like, I know you're on social media, just tell people where to find you guys before we forget, and then we'll put it on the show notes too. So
yes, so I am downtown, right across from the Cyrus Hotel, 929 South Kansas Avenue. And if you know where the BNSF train is on the sidewalk, that is right in front of my shop. If you have kids, you definitely know where that is. So, so that is where I'm at downtown. On Facebook, you can look me up as Forward Nutrition. Follow and like. Instagram, it's Forward Nutrition KS. Follow and like.
All right, and we'll for people listening, we'll put all this on our page. We'll post the links and stuff too. So if you didn't catch all that, it'll be out there for you.
Yeah. So I guess besides wrangling the boys and doing all the things, like, are you what's Tara up to now? Like, do you have goals or anything going on right now, or is it just?
So this year, my goal is to, one, work on me spiritually. So I'm going on like a little spiritual journey too. Me and my husband are doing it together, which is kind of cool. That was both one of our goals for 2025. And that was the other thing. I had never really like sat out and done like a whole goal setting for the entire year. So we both did that together, which is cool. As spouses, having like that communication of like, this is both where we want to head and this is what we're both wanting to do with ourselves. It was so unique, like when we'd be reading each other's like answers of like how we answered this question. It was kind of both like we were both on the spot on of what we want to do. And so I'm working on me spiritually and then working on personal development, because that is a huge key to success. And that's where I am always, everybody always can grow more in personal development. So I'm highly working on that. And then my next results, I'm wanting to really get a lot of more just muscle definition, not quite bodybuilder, but just get more than what I've had. So I'm working on putting on some muscle mass and doing that currently for physical results.
Just one quick question. I'm just curious. Do you know Katie Sullivan?
Yes.
Okay. Just because she used to do, it wasn't really bodybuilding, but I don't remember what the competition was called. But she runs with us a lot too. But, you know, she may be someone for you to talk to if you want to go that route.
Reach out to her.
Yeah.
I had two questions. One was do you know your story do you know who Lexi J. Johnson is? So she's from Missouri. She kind of a similar story. Dental hygienist, didn't want to do the thing, and then she got involved in First Form and the anti-fracilla stuff, and then kind of started her own online platform and with like at-home workouts. But it's just, for me, it sounded like a similar story. And then, have you ever thought about running an ultra marathon?
You know, it has been like towards the end of last year when I was finishing 75 hard, that was kind of, I was like, you know, I'd like to get back into running. And I live out by Lake Perry, so nothing but dirt roads and trails. So that is on my, like, I would like to get back into it. Yeah. So I don't know when, but it's been, you know, the idea is there.
If you ever want to go hit the trails, you know, Blaine, our group, he lives up in Ozaki, and we all know Lake Perry is my first ultra right out there. But thanks for doing this. Yeah, this is so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah. As we kind of wrap up, if there's anything else you want to plug or anything, we have some rapid fires that we kind of like to do, and we sort of change it up a little bit, but I think that these will be fun with the rapid fire. But do you have anything else that you want to plug, or any final notes here?
Just keep moving forward and just, you know, keep a positive outlook on life. If you keep that healthy mindset, you can achieve a lot of things.
Yeah. So awesome. So, hey, while you're looking that up, so I ran across this quote, and I've seen it for years, but I think it goes perfect with what we talked about today. It's also perfect for me being dumb enough to sign up for the URA 100. And it's from Teddy Roosevelt. You guys have probably heard this, and I'll read it while you're pulling that up. But it says, "Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the gray twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat." So that's just kind of my thing. Is like, I'm going to go do the URA 100.
Brian, I'm going to go run 100 miles right now.
Right, like, I'm going to go attempt the URA 100. Is it going to work out? I don't know. It's 100 miles in the mountains. Either it will or it won't.
Yeah.
And as long as I give it all I have, I would rather go out there and fail in that race. You know, just like I'm assuming you were willing to walk away from a career to start something new because you knew it was going to be better for you. And it, probably scary. It may not work. You don't know that, but you could still be sitting there today missing out on kids' activities where else, you know, if you didn't ever take on that challenge.
Exactly.
Alrighty. So I think I know the answer to the first one, but all right, rapid fires. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
I was actually guessing neither.
Neither, but
Anthony goes,
I didn't know that was an option.
It is an option.
No, but yeah, no. Like if I have to drink a pop, if that was
Yeah.
like the only thing available, it'd be Coke.
Yeah.
But no, I typically most of the time I don't even drink it anymore.
Yeah, so I work for Coca-Cola. So we were, I guess we kind of, we used to give you clients.
Yeah. Yes.
When you do that,
When you were a dental hygienist.
Yeah.
when you do that first ultra marathon, you might want one though. Like,
Yes.
you've been
Coke
running
and
for 10
Ultra.
hours.
Oh yes.
Even like Coke after a hard workout, like just one of the little baby cans. All right, are you Garmin or Koros, or do you wear Fitness Watch?
Garmin all the way.
Sorry, Brian. we don't want China tracking their stuff, okay?
I'll tell him where I'm at.
Are you Swifty or no Swifty?
No Swifty.
Okay, that's okay. Do you have a go-to like workout shoes or running shoes that you wear?
Flux.
Flux. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
You haven't heard of them yet?
Flux?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So wide-toed box. They ground your feet, and they have the no heel toe drop too. And it's
Okay.
like you put when you put them on, it's like a glove. So I have them on currently, and they're
Okay.
awesome.
Are they like workout specific shoes
So
or everyday shoes?
they have trainers, which I wear when I'm lifting. They have like your everyday walking shoe, trail shoes, which is what I currently have on, and then also running if you're not running on the trails. So just your standard running shoe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Try them out.
Speaking-
Oh my gosh.
they look like ultras.
Yeah, they're very similar to ultras, especially
Yeah.
with the wide toe box.
Alright.
But
Very cool.
they're the rage.
That is cool.
And they're waterproof too. And you can run them
I'm
underneath the
gonna
water.
have to look them up. All right. If you could pick a celebrity, I'm gonna say to work out with or to run with, who would that be?
It might not end well, but David Goggins.
Let's go. Yeah. Do you know who Jesse Itzler is?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he did the whole like living with Goggins thing.
Yes, I listened to that podcast too.
So fascinating. Or like I thought about it when it was blizzarding last week. I mean, I did walk to the gym in a blizzard, and I recorded it because I go to Great Life. It was like right across the field, and I'm like, I showed up, and there's somebody there. I'm like, I'm only here so I can tell my kids that I walked to the gym for gains in a blizzard, foot of snow, all the. But yeah, Goggins would be cool. And then so we got quite the playlist going for our Spotify playlist. What is a song that you would add to it? It could be all over the spectrum. What's your go-to song?
Another level.
By
Oh gosh, I don't even go in here. I just found it the other day. Here we go. Whoops, sorry, that's not
That's
it.
it.
I know. I was like, I don't know what that was. I think it's like "Oh, the Larceny" or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, we have quite the spectrum of. What is it?
It's "Another Level" by "Oh, the Larceny."
Oh, the Larceny. Let's go.
Yeah, we have everything now from Beyonce to
Zeppelin to
it's
Ace Sholo
yeah.
to Turnstile.
It's all over the place. So,
So, well, cool. Thanks for doing this, Tara. This was a lot of fun. All the listeners out there, check out Forward Nutrition downtown. I think one of these days we need to plan a run to like all of them and like do like an ultra and get like teas and shakes at each one. That'd be a lot of fun.
It would be. Like,
Yeah.
you guys would constantly have all the carbs you guys need
I used
to keep going.
When I lived up north, I used to have a route to run to the capital. I live out west now, and I need to.
that'll probably make us feel better than after doing the Chipotle run.
Oh my god! Yeah, John, or like the Taco Bell 50K is a thing.
Oh
and
gosh.
like, because I think in the Denver metro, there's like 12 Taco Bells, and they've made a 50K route to hit them all, and you have to buy something at every one.
Eat at every one of them.
I bet that would be very interesting to see how everybody's doing now.
Ugh, that's yeah. So,
Digestive tracts would probably have never been so clean.
yeah. Well, cool. Well, everybody out there, thanks for listening. Thanks for doing this. I need some good juju. So, do you know who Nick Bear is in BPN? He's one of the body, like, he didn't get ripped and like jacked by running ultras, but he was that before he started. But he has a lottery for a last man standing race.
Oh boy.
That's like taking place on Saturday. The lottery is, and it's in May, and it's like kind of some of the guys that I like to follow and the people I like to follow. It'd be a lot of fun. So lottery, let's go. So
Well, good luck.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna sign off with our saying that's now a thing. Run happy, train hard, and we'll see you out there.